The trade rumors for the Toronto Maple Leafs have been heating up a lot. We've heard tons of different things that they want a center with term, which makes sense, that they're willing to give up assets for a center that has term. They're obviously really, really in on a defenseman, so why not go with a defenseman and a center together? Or perhaps even a brother combination. I personally would love to see this. So the rumor going around right now is that the Leafs are trying to acquire Braden and Luke Schenn in a kind of package deal. I remember when Elliot Friedman went on about this on Saturday headlines. He usually goes on about it on Saturday headlines. They said that, quote, teams have been trying to acquire. Now, at that point, immediately I was like, yeah, it's probably one of the teams has got to be the Leafs. Like, how could they not try to acquire Braden and Luke Schenn? That would be such a cool story. It's funny, when Luke Schenn actually played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, that was the time that they actually won their first round series against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I really, really liked Luke Schenn in that series. He played fantastic. He's a big, physical defenseman. I don't care what anybody says. Size matters in the National Hockey League. I understand you need to be able to keep up. I understand you need to be able to make decisions at a high level, right? That's very, very important, absolutely. But you still need to have that size. And the one thing that Shen does really, he's almost underrated now, where he is just so good at human. They call him essentially the human eraser. Now, when we talk about Braden Shen, he has a little bit of a difficult season this year, but we're going to go over all of that. So first, let's take a look at Luke Shen and how he's been performing in Nashville. Luke Schenn is a big 6'2" right-hand shot defenseman. Now, he typically plays about 15 minutes a night, and when you point out what he brings on the ice, some people might say that's a little bit too much for a guy that's going to be playing bottom pair minutes. Now, I need that Maple Leaf fans to understand something more than anything, that their bottom pair has been a pretty big issue for the Maple Leafs. Simon Benoit has been having a really, really, really bad season. His reads, his puck-moving ability is not there. He's making really weird plays. He's not stable. I don't know about you guys, but I have not liked Connor Timmins at all. He had a pretty good start to the season, but he's not been playing good. So it is a very important thing for the Maple Leafs to fix their bottom pair. Now, Luke Schenn is getting paid $2.750 million, so that's going to be a little bit complex. But if they can manage to fit him under the cap, this would be excellent. It would fix a big glaring issue. The Maple Leafs have Chris Tanev and they have Jake McCabe. Chris Tanev, by the way, is actually okay. He's day to day, which is fantastic. And I'm telling you right now, man, you gotta fix that bottom pair. They have Riley, they have Tanev, they have McCabe, they have some guy, the Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I don't know about you guys, but he's had a pretty good season. And then you look at that bottom pair. I do not trust that bottom pair at all. I don't like Philippe Myers that much. I don't like Simon Benoit that much, at least this season. I really, really, really do not like Connor Timmins. I just don't like him at all. He moves the puck kind of okay, but he's really not looked that good to me. And then we can talk about their center position. You cannot win in the National Hockey League without centers and being built down the middle. And especially with Auston Matthews not looking his best, you need to get a third line center. We don't know what's going on with Matthews. I don't know about you guys, but he kind of looks a little bit lethargic. Now, that could be because of the Four Nations face-off, but we do know that he had a back issue, I believe it was, this season as well. Braden Shen is a little bit more of an offensive player. He's on pace for about 45 points this year. He is a cup champion as well, which is obviously important. You need that experience. This is a player that usually scores between 40 to 60 points. Now, he's on the lower end of that this year, but I'm not going to judge him too much because, generally speaking, players, when they're on a bad team, you can't really judge players that much. If you followed my channel for a while, you know that I usually like to give breaks to players if they kind of are on a bad team, because I know how much that can probably kill a player that you're just never going to make the playoffs and you're in a terrible franchise, right? Now he's getting paid about $6.5 million. Okay, that's a big ticket, right? And that's $2.7 million that would you be adding with Luke Shen. So that's about $10 million of cap hit that they'd be adding. So they would certainly have to move somebody out of importance. Now, you'd have to probably convince Max Domi to go the other way to some degree. I think that would be absolutely no problem. I think that you could probably convince some team to take him and maybe a three-way trade possibly. I mean, he's just really had a bad season this year. I mean, he was actually pretty good last year, but you're going to have to figure something out in that regard. I personally don't think the Maple Leafs are necessarily like cup favorites this year, although they are first in the Atlantic. They're even above the Florida Panthers. So I know that it's kind of silly of me to say that, but at the same time, I mean, you have to prove it in the playoffs. I believe right now they would match up with the Detroit Red Wings, I think, if they can actually finish off #1 in the Atlantic. I think this would be the first time that they're able to finish top in the Atlantic anyway. If they manage to fix their center position and their defensive bottom pair, I really, really, really do think that this is a big upgrade. I do wonder if Simon Benoit and perhaps Luke Shen might look a little better together. Like perhaps Luke Shen would calm down Simon Benoit, because I don't know what's going on with that guy. He was pretty good last year, but again, I've said this already, but I've just really not liked him. I definitely want Connor Timmins out of the playoff lineup. And then they're probably going to have to do something else. Like, for example, they're going to have to see what they're going to do with Calle Yarncroc. Yarncroc is coming back very, very soon as well, so that should add to the bottom six. Let's not forget how good of a player he is. He's a very, very good two-way player, so that's going to add to their depth as well. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on this trade rumor. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.